a martial arts movie podcast.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Featuring drunken Thai boxer, Will.
Too bad you will die.
The also drunken wrestler, Mark.
I said I don't want trouble.
And drunken karate master, Zero.
You've lost your balls.
And now,
I know Kung Fu. You know, baby.
Fists of Fail.
Do you know if they are actually dancing the hustle in this movie?
Technically not.
They have Kung Fu in this
I
movie.
couldn't tell. It looked kind of... Nah, it wasn't the cha-cha. Maybe it was the hustle. I used to dance them, but I can't remember the differences anymore. It's been so long.
They do cha-cha. That's a direct reference to Bruce Lee.
Yeah, I kind of
And that's
thought
where the
that.
name comes from. They should have been Kung Fu cha-cha.
Kung Fu cha-cha.
Doesn't have that ring.
Right.
Well, it's not even Kung Fu. There's no hustle in the Chinese title. It's just Kung Fu.
Technically, the
Is that the
hus-
actual Chinese title? Wow.
Just Kung Fu. But I don't think that would have any sort of, doesn't roll. It doesn't stick with you if you had that.
It's
international-
too generic of a title.
Right,
Oh, you
yeah.
mean
Especially for American
Kung
audiences.
Fu, the series with a certain
Yeah, but it's called Kung Fu the series.
asphyxiation aficionado.
Yeah, or calling the Karate Kid the Karate Kid and not Kung Fu.
Kid.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't want to talk about that.
Sure. What are we talking about
We're
today?
talking about Kung Fu Hustle, Stephen Chow's last star in comedy role. I was gonna say last film, but that's not true because he still makes
making
movies
films,
today. Yeah, but hasn't really done one of his trademark comedies of like the ones that we know him. Well, as in most people would know him from what, the 80s and 90s, and this is the last one. It's kind of him trying to go out with a bang. Right?
Yeah. This is a great culmination of a lot of his signature comedy styles, adding Kung Fu into it, and it's just this big mashup of lots of fun references if you know them, but still pretty accessible, I think, if you don't, because I like the story a lot in this as well.
Yeah, that's a good word that you just mentioned. Accessible. This movie is definitely catered a lot towards the Western audience a little bit more, which is weird to say because there are some things that you won't really get unless you are Chinese or you understand Chinese culture, but they're far and few between. It's not a lot. So if you're watching, I believe you're watching the Chinese Odyssey movies where he was playing Monkey King.
Oh yes, I watched the first one.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was
That
lost
was
on you.
extremely lost on me.
Yeah,
as a foreigner.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Like this one's a little bit more universal.
Yeah, I never felt like I didn't understand something because it was probably culturally specific. I'm sure if there were things in there, it would have just added to it if I knew about it.
His previous film, Shaolin Soccer, which we should not talk about one day. It's
maybe
for me. I definitely think it's up there with like you could qualify as a martial arts film, but that's up for debate. But that could have very well been it for his career when it comes to comedy, because that's probably one of my favorites. And a lot of people regard Kung Fu Hustle as his magnum opus. And I don't know. I never got on that bandwagon. I can kind of see why people like it, but there's some comedy that works, some comedy that doesn't work in this movie. And it's supposed to be a Kung Fu love letter, right? That's like the whole point of Kung Fu Hustle, right? So it's unfortunate for me that I don't see it as much as that. I go to a Stephen Chow film wanting comedy, and the Kung Fu is just kind of secondary to it. Exactly. We can get into that as well, but let's hear your opinions of this movie, because I don't want to start off negative already because we're only 5 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
I mentioned before, I like this movie. Every time I watch this movie, I thoroughly enjoy it. So it's one of those films I don't want to watch too much because I like going back to a film I like watching and feeling like it's like a brand new feeling. So this is probably only maybe like the fifth or sixth time I've seen this movie,
That's
and
a lot for you.
yeah. We watched this before a few months back at a midnight screening,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it, but we were watching an edited version.
Yeah,
of the
I think I was the one who pointed it out, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. But what happened is when it went to mainland China, they edited out the gore, and then they edited out poop. There's a fun shot of a kid squatting, and apparently, the original version there's toilet paper next to him, and in the edited version they digitally removed it, so you just see a kid squatting, and I'm like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
There's two things you're not allowed to show in China: poop and Winnie the Pooh. They're about the same.
And blood, spitting blood up.
Yeah, I was the one who pointed out. It was, and unlike you, I've seen this movie millions and millions of times. I have all that time in my hands. This is 15 years since the movie came out, so I've at least averaged like once a year, either willingly or not willingly, just because it's on. Growing up in a Chinese household, like it just somehow shows up. And you're like, oh, I guess I'm watching this again. So like I notice things like, oh, that guy should have been spewing blood, like when he gets punched in the stomach and stuff. Oh, for example, there's this really good gag in the very beginning of the movie where we get introduced to Stephen Chow, and he's like trying really hard to be a thug, but he's not. He's just he's a
so
person.
Stephen Chow enters Pigsty Alley,
Yeah.
which is kind of like a slum-ish apartment complex,
Yeah.
I guess you can say. And he's there parading as a member of the Axe Gang with his sidekick friend. I don't know his name, but he's a larger gentleman who has the axes tattooed on his chest.
Well, there's a good gag here where he's challenging everyone in the village. He's trying to be intimidating, but no one is buying it.
Yeah.
He asked this frail little Chinese lady to, like with flowers in her hand to slug him in the stomach.
He's like, yeah, I'll let you hit me first.
Yeah, and in the original edit, original being the Hong Kong edit, you see as soon as the hit lands, this blood just spews out of his mouth. But in the version that we saw, I guess the Chinese edit, he does the motions, but nothing's coming out of his mouth, and that's so weird because the way that the shot is framed, you can see that he's on the right, and there's so much space on the left.
Yeah, something should be there,
Exactly.
but they digitally removed it, which is very odd. But yeah, censors.
Yeah, there's more moments like that throughout the film, and like you lose a lot of the impact of what the comedy is going for. Stephen Chow is infamous for like using that gag over and over when it comes to like vomiting blood, vomiting blood, spitting out blood. Sure, it can come off as violent, but it's also half the comedy that you get out of it.
He's over exaggerating these blows where sure it's a punch to the stomach, but the fact that the guy is spitting up blood from it makes it silly. It adds that cartoony element to his style, which this movie literally hits you over the head that it's a live action cartoon, which I like. If you watch some of his older stuff, it has that sensibility, like it's a live action cartoon. And in this one, he is very visually telling you that's what he's going for.
Right. Have I mentioned this to you? How I kind of in my head draw parallels to from Stephen Chow to all the Naked Gun movies in terms of comedy.
Well, I haven't seen as many films from him as you have, but I always got a sense that he was making a parody of something.
Oh,
maybe not the whole movie, but like there are parody elements he would constantly sprinkle in.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing about this movie. It's paying homage, but also being parodies of other films, right? And we could definitely want to talk about those later. But Stephen Chow, this is the thing that still fascinates me about like you guys watching Stephen Chow films, is that there's a lot of cultural things and a lot of wordplay, and that's the thing that makes me connect Stephen Chow to like the Abrams films. You know, we got Naked Gun, Airplane, etc., Top Secret, and you know, like there's a lot of wordplay there, and it's played straight. You just listen to it, and you can kind of get the comedy out of it without the characters breaking character. So like I appreciate that part, but then this movie comes out, and that part is downplayed a little bit more, and going for the more slapsticky. Like the slapsticky, I wouldn't say lower brow, but it doesn't feel the same as his older films.
I guess I don't know. So I don't know if it was intentional, if he was trying to maybe have a broader appeal. Like
I think that's totally what it was.
Okay, so in that case, then he can't do all the wordplay stuff because it's going to be lost on us.
Right.
So he went more visual, giving us a lot of visual gags, a lot of visual references that we are probably familiar with.
I think you just said it. The distribution company, the one who bought the rights to this movie, I'm sorry. Well, I guess when they were, in talks of creating this film, they were giving Stephen Chow the biggest budget that he's ever had, but they wanted to market this to international audiences, so they had to make sure that people could understand it. But it makes sense, like everyone knows Bruce Lee, so they're attributing to that. Everyone knows the basic tenets of martial arts films, but Stephen Chow is capable of throwing in little subtle nods to martial arts history in terms of cinema history. So, there's something that everyone can enjoy. And somehow I'm an asshole because I don't love this film as much as people do. All right. What is the plot? Somebody take this from me.
What is the plot? It's
extremely simple. It's probably the simplest plot I've ever seen.
So there's a lot of story beats, but I guess I'm trying to think of what is the general plot of this movie. Stephen Chow and friends, they're trying to blackmail people in this little apartment complex for a free haircut.
I can't believe that sets off the plot.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what happens. They are trying to be threatening, and they're not. And they accidentally throw a firecracker at the passing axe gang and convince them that the village people, townspeople, whatever, are the ones who did it. And he gets them on their side, and the axe gang is like, who did this? No one's speaking, and so they're gonna set a woman and child on fire. And this kind of sets off this big string of events that the movie just like takes off from there.
Yeah. Big stream of events. Right,
to make some more sense of that, it's because they pretend to be part of the X gang.
Yes.
And that's actually because if you're coming in and you've never seen the movie, you're like, well, why would they take their side? But they have fake tattoos and they have all of these things that kind of...
Well, it's established. It's established that they want... Stephen Chow has this weird notion that being good doesn't do you any good. So, I made my own punny. So he's trying his hardest to be a bad guy. And, like all those string of events is just a back and forth of the villains hire new villains to take down people in the alley. The alley... somehow overcomes that, and then they get another villain, and then they take down the good guys. It's constant back and forth.
Yeah.
Very, very simple plot. It culminates to the end where it's literally just good guy versus bad guy.
Right. It's weird. When I was watching this, it feels like Stephen Chow's character, yes, he's a star, but
he's barely in the movie.
It's kind of like he's sharing the story with the people of the apartment complex. Mm-hmm. It's just as much their tale as it is his. I feel like he's just a response to a lot of the things that is going on because of the events he put into play. Mm-hmm. I love the other people a little more than him. Mm-hmm. Like he becomes a little overpowered at the end, which I felt was kind of not unnecessary. Like I don't fully buy it. Mm-hmm. But they do at least try to give explanations to it. But yeah, I love the people living in the apartment, like the landlady and the landlord. They definitely steal the show for me.
Well, we have a lot of characters in this film, and very minor. But yeah, like the landlady, the landlord.
Lord.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, they do call him that throughout the whole film.
Yeah, right. He's also the pervert.
Yes.
We also have.
I think that's why I liked him.
Well, we have the landlord played by Yunhua, who's we've talked about him several times throughout the podcast. He was Bruce Lee's stunt double in Fist of Fury. He was the main bad guy of Eastern Condors. He gets blowed up at the end.
Blowed up.
He was in that. Him being one of the 7 fortunes from the Peking Opera House that Jackie and Samuel were at. But also, we have another opera veteran in the movie who plays the landlady. I don't know her name, unfortunately, because she did technically retire in the 80s. No, sorry, 80s? Yeah, I guess. No, 90s. I think 90s, sorry. But she retired for a very long time, and she hasn't been doing much. So this was all happenstance that Stephen Chow was just trying to, hire people, like for auditioning. And she was just sitting there smoking a cigarette. And he was like, "Oh, you look perfect for the part." And then that's
and it turned out that she was who he actually wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fate.
Yeah,
that's great.
This character, and then it's gonna sound terrible. I hope my mom isn't listening, but she totally reminds me of her. All mannerisms.
Well, she's the Asian tiger mom.
Tiger mom, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. If you've ever heard of stereotypes like that, if you watch this movie, you're like, yeah, that's my mom.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because she's in it and she does a great job. She's annoying, but she redeems herself at the end. You kind of understand her character a little bit more. But what?
No, I was just gonna say it's a very good looking cast to what you were saying. I mean, it like Zero said, it's perfect. This whole cast, you couldn't have scripted better.
Okay.
I mean, obviously they were looking for certain people, but just because I feel like he made the film with these actors in mind and played to their strengths here and there because even if he found her just by chance.
Yeah, that's true. On that note, since you talked about it, we also have Bruce Leung in the movie, who plays the Beast, the main villain. Ultimately becomes the villain, who turns out, was Stephen Chow's childhood hero, which is kind of funny because I didn't really know much about him, but because he's much older and he quit acting as well, and he became a businessman. So, I guess I couldn't recognize him, but he was in Dragon Lives Again, one of my favorite Bruceploitation films, because that movie's so fucking weird, where Bruce Lee comes back and fights Dracula and mummies and vampires.
Oh, I want to watch that.
And Clint Eastwood.
No, I really want to watch that.
Not to get off topic, but it's just Stephen Chow definitely has. Not only did he cast his regulars in this film, like we have some recurring actors from Shaolin Soccer. Like we have his fat friends. We have the glasses guy who plays the clerk of the main villain. We also have Danny Chan, who is the Bruce Lee lookalike. He is literally the Bruce Lee lookalike in every movie. He was a Bruce Lee impersonator in that god awful movie that just came out recently, where they time traveled and they brought back Bruce Lee, Ip Man, and some other guy.
Oh, that's like, I forgot the name. I know what you're talking about. They're trying to do like the Avengers of martial arts.
Let's not even talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I heard it's pretty bad.
I was on a plane and I saw it in the corner of my eye. I'm like, I want to gouge my eyes out. I need to fall asleep right now. So we have Danny Chan and. I guess that he plays the Axe Gang leader, and yeah, like we have those regulars, but I'm kind of upset. Oh well, no, like I was kind of disappointed that he didn't have Ming Pat, who is his right hand man for basically all his films. in prior movies. Like he was the coach in Shaolin Soccer.
Ah,
Yeah, he is.
got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
like
Yeah,
he's
I know who you're talking about.
yeah, like once you see his face,
It's kind of like the father figure.
yeah, he plays multiple characters, like different roles in Stephen Chow's films, but it's because the actor literally said after Shaolin Soccer he's done with doing any collaborations with Stephen Chow. Now, I don't think out of animosity, it's just because he's like, I don't want to be that Stephen Chow guy. I want to do my own thing. And now he's starring in terrible mainland China movies, or TV shows. I mean,
there you go.
all right, actors aside, we could talk about the tribute to Kung Fu cinema history that this movie's trying to do. And by we, I mean, I guess me.
Probably, yeah. I'm unfortunately not as keen on a lot of the references they're making, unless it's to something Western, like the Looney Tunes stuff, which is pretty visually obvious.
Right.
I think this is the stuff that is very fun, but is a little unnecessary.
The Looney Tunes stuff?
The Looney Tunes stuff, yeah. They sprinkled it throughout. So one of the things you see is you see that the landlady is kind of running, but her feet are in this kind of cartoony windmill motion, and she's kind of going up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's fun. But if I think about it, I'm not sure if that really plays into the plot at all. Like, I think it's just a stylistic thing that he's doing. And then there's the very iconic sequence where she is chasing Stephen Chow, and they are both now running with their feet in this kind of windmill fashion. And they're just kind of,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, pretty much. And their
His feet become donuts.
they're running on, I guess, a dirt highway, and she's chasing him, and you get that really, really symphonic score that is definitely harkening back to like the Looney Tunes soundtrack.
Oh man, can you believe the scene was supposed to last longer? Stephen Chow they said that he filmed a motorcycle sequence where he crashes the bike and such, and he took it out because he's like, oh, this wouldn't have fit. But honestly, I don't think that scene fits at all.
It's like I said, like it's cool stylistically, but I'm not sure how it really fits into the plot. It's just a fun visual. Like it's him, as I mentioned earlier, it's him saying, "I'm making a live action cartoon. This is it."
Right. Well, I want to talk about this since we're talking about what actually happens before this is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen Stephen Chow do. It is the funniest setup. It is the funniest sight gags. It's the throwing of the knives.
Yes. This is very, very good.
It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Probably not exaggerating. The first time I watched it, it floored me because I was laughing so hard. Just his friend is just trying to throw the knife and try to kill someone, but because of whatever circumstance, it just constantly backfires, and Stephen Chow ends up getting stabbed in the arm.
Yeah, he's like the butt of the joke this entire time because he is incapable of throwing this knife, and his friend is even more incapable of throwing additional knives, and all the blades just end up in him, and it's very, very great sight gag.
Right. And it's upsetting only because I wanted that, even though it's perfect. I think that's such a good comedic moment for the film. It kind of gets ruined because it just plummets after that with this whole Wile E. Coyote sequence. And it's like, oh, this is not this. Like we're riding this high, and suddenly it just takes such a nosedive.
I was okay with it following that. I mean, he uses the knife in his shoulder as a side view mirror. I mean, come on, that's pretty clever. I have to give it that.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, beer went down the wrong tube. All right. So,
well, are there any other references you want to make? So
there's tons. Like simple things like even the score, which I'm surprised Mark hasn't mentioned up to this point.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's your.
I love this score. I know. I think is it? Not, it's not Raymond Chow. It's Raymond something. Raymond Wong.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's referencing a lot of different stuff, but it's never that obvious for me.
Right.
That it pulls me out of it. Like I just like it in general. Like the horns.
Yeah.
The horns are great. They're very memorable. And then there are times when it goes into the strings to build all those tension moments, especially when they fight the harpists.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah.
I don't usually listen to movie soundtracks, but this is actually one that I had on rotation after watching the movie.
Right. And the American release had more tracks. So what the
Really?
fuck?
It's
Yeah,
it's
more
a
than-
standalone. It's good. It's like any spaghetti western usually has a very good soundtrack associated with it, and it kind of accentuates the film. So yeah, same exact thing here. Actually, maybe that kind of makes sense. The western soundtrack has more just because
Same movie.
I get that, but it's probably like remixes or extended versions of something. But only because I think the Western audience would actually appreciate it more, specifically
Well,
because
I don't know. It's traditional Chinese instruments, right? Or some
it
of
is.
yeah.
It is, but there's a lot of Western, like cowboy, Native American influence in that music, and that's why I think the Western soundtrack is extended.
You know, you said it before. There are a lot of tributes through all of them, and it's kind of hard to name all of them. but
Blazing
if you're-
Saddles.
Well, no, I mean,
I'm
like,
thinking of like purely
no.
Western.
I mean, like in this movie soundtrack, you can actually hear some of the tributes. Like the first one that comes to mind is Fist of Fury. You hear it directly. It's like like right as soon as the Axe Gang gets introduced, you hear the trumpets playing. And it's like that's taken directly from Fist of Fury. And well, I mean, Chow. It's no secret that Chow is a huge fan of Bruce Lee. So he wanted to attribute him as much as possible.
A lot of Italian musicians influence from the 50s, specifically the ones that made spaghetti westerns. The Italian horror influencers, like music-wise. And then also...
Batman.
Yeah.
in case that one wasn't as obvious for the viewers.
Was it the Din Batman?
That would have been great.
Adam West starring.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of loving homages to this. Stephen Chow wanted to make sure that this is encapsulates everything that he loves about martial arts because he grew up, appreciating it. I guess he himself wasn't like a Jackie or anything like that. He found his own calling, his own way of.
He's definitely more comedy.
Yeah.
But
oh my god, yes.
But he's I think he was a stuntman at one point. And he does do martial arts. It's just the movies I remember seeing from him. They're not the main focus. It's mainly the comedy.
Yeah. Well, his starting roles were in like TVB, doing TV, these small soap opera-ish like roles where he's just like an extra. And like sometimes you'll see him just doing these really small performances that they don't want the main actors to do because like, oh, that's going to require getting hurt, so let's have this guy do it. Obviously I'm glad he rose to ranks and they became one of the most prolific directors in Hong Kong history. And it's actually a shame. I kind of want to talk about this before we talk about the action. This is my last point topic I want to mention. But this movie's kind of bittersweet for me because I don't hate this movie. I actually do like it. It's not my favorite for many, many, many reasons. Maybe one day we'll get into that. But it's bittersweet because this is his last trademark style. Like last movie of his trademark style. Yeah.
I'll definitely give you that. Like this is, I think you might have said it. Like this is kind of him going out with a bang, even though he still makes movies.
Yeah.
But it's I don't want to say it's lacking because if you watch some of his previous stuff, you can see it still has some of his trademark elements, but it's just not. It's like it's toned down almost. Like it's like he can't go overboard with it because it needs to change now.
Where's that fucking mermaid movie that he made? Oh god, I saw parts of it and I wanted to vomit.
It's okay. It's silly enough.
Doesn't matter, Mark. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. It's silly enough. It has some of his his staple comedic moments, but I feel like he's kind of getting a little more into the drama elements. Like he's adding it a lot more. Not for comedy. He's adding it because he wants to actually be dramatic.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like that's what CJ7 was. CJ7 being the next film that he does after this, and it's practically not a comedy. It's just
right. It's a kid's movie. It's dramedy. Definitely, there are comedic stuff to it, but it's a little more drama first.
Right.
It's what the Magic Crystal was not.
You think that was an answer to Magic
Oh
Crystal?
yes, definitely.
God, the mermaid. Fuck that.
You should check it out.
Oh my God.
It's there's enough silly things going on where you can appreciate it, but that's I think that might have been the first one with him not starring in it.
No, that's not true at all.
No, it's
Because
the,
after CJ7 was the last film with him on screen.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
hasn't been on screen since. See, I have a love-hate relationship with Kung Fu Hustle because, again, that's because he had so much clout after that movie and he received so much recognition. I guess he just kind of gave up. But also, I love the movie because, for what it stands for and such, and its execution, as well. But I hate it because that's it.
Oh no, he did.
And
I think he did Journey to the West.
But he wasn't in it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Like the first films with him not in it.
right.
It's a shame. Yeah, he got a lot of clout from Kung Fu Hustle, and I'm fine with you not escalating. Going a little smaller. CJ7 is fine. It is a smaller film, but then for him not to do any more movies was.
Well, he has the money now.
Yeah, I guess,
he can cast other people, but no one can get his timing. No one can get his comedic timing. No one can get his on-screen performance.
I think that's the
presence.
shame because he went out on a high note, so that leaves us wanting more from him.
Right. He can just be a director now. He doesn't have to be starring in it anymore. And that I kind of miss that. Like he, again, no one has his timing, like comedically, and we have like a whole void in Hong Kong cinema where like no one's even trying to do what he did, and even if they did, it would pale in comparison because he was so good at it.
I mean, I don't watch too many Chinese cinema films besides martial arts, but I'm not too familiar with the comedies coming out from there. So,
Oh my God, they're terrible.
I don't know.
They're all
I
terrible.
watched these films because they were just everyone spoke about them because they're good.
Right.
But now I don't know too many Chinese comedies that are out there that are recommended.
Right. But just to cap this off, and just to come off being a little bit more positive here, Stephen Chow, he has given hints throughout time that he doesn't only want to do comedy. So yes, I love-hate relationship with this. Like I said, yes, as an artist, Stephen Chow should go forward trying to do other things besides comedy. Like for example, like in King of Comedy, even though the movie is called King of Comedy, that movie's very straightforward in being a drama. It's about a man who he's struggling to be a director. Like it's all about it's kind of like the Ed Wood of Stephen Chow's movies. He wants to be well established, but he's pretending to be well-known actor, director, and it's all the struggles of being who he is. It's a surrogate for who he really is in real life, and it's kind of like not really a comedy, and like you see that he's trying to branch out into drama, but it doesn't really work. It's an interesting movie if you've never seen it.
Like The Mermaid.
Fuck that.
It's a drama that can't help but be a comedy because it
doesn't have shoehorned in, comedy for no reason. But
no,
anyway.
it just looks like a joke.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
right. So I do appreciate this film because, I do appreciate that Stephen Chow is trying to branch out and do other things, but still miss
Right.
This,
Well,
I miss
it's just a shame because he does comedy so well.
You're right.
That's what it is.
Right.
It's just
You said it all.
it's our personal preference for him to do comedies, but let him do what he wants.
Right.
Whatever.
I didn't want this to only be a Stephen Chow episode, but that's what I feel when I watch this movie. It's like, damn, it's like I can't believe that was 15 years ago that he's he kind of stopped doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we'll touch on his other movies another day. So let's talk about the action. The whole point of our podcast for Kung Fu Hustle, the supposed love letter to Kung Fu cinema. What do you guys think?
I like a lot of the setups of the action in this movie. There is a constant escalation of power. If you notice,
Like Dragon Ball?
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's not fair. And like I'm saying this more in a positive way. We're always introduced to an adversary, and then maybe the people are equal or stronger, and then from there we're introduced to a new adversary. They show how they can defeat the current people, and it escalates there. But as simple as it sounds, it's very, very effective in what it does. I like that you feel you feel good when like the villains get defeated, and then you feel tension when a new villain comes because you're like, oh, like they're stronger, just as equal. How are they going to survive this?
Yeah.
And it just slowly escalates from beginning to end.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. Like, well, what I said before, it still stands. It's villains terrorize good guys, get a new person or people to defend, or to fight back, and then the villains fight back, and then it goes back and forth.
Right. It sounds
very simple.
Yeah, it sounds a little simple or repetitive, but it works very, very well.
Right. Well, it's not. Movie. Yeah, it's not repetitive. Oh, I mean, yes, it is repetitive, but like they break it up with like different styles, different martial arts, martial artists. It's great. And I do appreciate that. I do find it weird though, because knowing what the movie was, let's say you come into the production of this and you have the concept of having all these fantastical wuxia elements later in the film, right? When they were in production of this film, they casted Sammo Hung to be the action choreographer. Now, I like Sammo Hung a lot, but I feel like his choreography is more grounded in reality. And even he himself, during production, said, like, I don't like this. I don't like there to be so much CG, so much wire work. I want, my fights to be a little bit more grounded. And
then Stephen Chow coming off of Shaolin Soccer, which was very, very heavily CGI'd. Not in a bad way.
No, I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it works perfectly. It works for that. So I feel that he was kind of going in that arc, like, oh, I'm going to use CG, not to hide things, but kind of extenuate what he wanted to go for. Yeah. Going back to the live action cartoon, like you needed CGI to give that cartoony look.
Right.
And yes, Sammo Hung directed the first fight with the three masters. But then Yun Mo Ping stepped in for the later fights.
Which makes sense.
Yeah,
It works perfectly, yeah.
In the last episode, we were speaking of Fist of Legend, and I was saying I didn't like Yun Mo Ping's wire work choice in that because it kind of makes it seem cartoony, but it works so well in this movie because people are kind of floating around doing things that are over-exaggerated, but that's the tone, and that's actually what he's going for. So it's perfect here.
Yeah, no, you perfectly said. That's exactly how I feel about it too. And I don't know why they chose Sammo. Sammo, like he was, his health wasn't so great during the production, so I don't think that helped as well. But he's not right for this kind of movie. So I mean, Yun Mo Ping was perfectly casted for this, but I do find that kind of weird that they
didn't think of him first.
Well, yes, they didn't think of him first, but also there's a lot of Matrix parodies in this movie, like for sure.
Yeah.
And like not so glaringly obvious, like those terrible fucking movies that came out in like the
they were
early 2000s.
They were specifically referencing the second,
right? But not everyone's doing that backwards bend bullet time maneuver.
Equilibrium.
What? No. What? No. God, no, I'm talking about like everyone trying to.
Well, no one's doing bullet time in this movie.
Yeah, no bullet time. No one's doing that Trinity jumping in the air kick.
Yeah,
it's more subtle.
Yeah, those parodies have since been worn out.
Thank God.
by this time. So he does reference the Burly fight in this, but it works well because they're making fun of it.
Yeah, right, and I mean especially at the ends where we have. Well, essentially every fight with one against many, or like a crowded fight, where a bunch of people are swarming, and it's one against many. Like that's directly referencing the Matrix in a lot of ways, because this is 2004. Matrix Revolution's already wrapped up, right? So I'm guessing they're borrowing a lot from that as well. Yeah, like, the reason why I'm mentioning this Matrix at all is because who was the action choreographer for that entire trilogy was Yun Mo Ping. So Yun Mo Ping was just like, I'm just going to use what I did for the Matrix. Yeah, so our first fight is with it was choreographed by Sammo Hung, like we mentioned. And if you didn't know that, would you have known that Sammo did this rather than Yuen Woo-ping?
I probably wouldn't have been able to pick that up. Now that you mention it a little bit, I don't see as much floaty wire work here. It does feel a little more grounded, although it is still kind of fantastical.
Right.
I like this fight a lot because I like the setup to the fight a lot.
Right.
I mentioned earlier, the Axe Gang is now pissed off. They've called for backup, and now the entire gang is here, and they're trying to retaliate against the people of this Pigsty Alley, and they covered a mother and son in oil, gasoline, and they're like, who did this? Who beat up our one guy? And you got those strings playing. The tension is building, and the gang leader throws the lighter at the mother and son, and then finally we get one of the masters who steps in,
Played by Sheng Yu.
Yeah.
Sheng Yu, we haven't talked about him much, have we?
We talked about him for like 3 movies in a row, and then and then we just forgot about
was
it.
he any episodes?
Master Z.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Master.
You're right.
Ip Man 2?
2 and 1.
No. Master Z. No, he was only one.
He was only. Oh yeah, he gets killed.
Spoilers.
And
We
then
don't do spoilers.
what was the
anymore.
3rd movie? I feel like there was one more.
No, probably. Yeah, he's one of the more well-known. I wouldn't say up and coming, but he's in a lot of martial
Yeah,
arts.
he's never the hero. He's never the star.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in like one starring role.
Right, but he's great in this movie.
Yeah, the Cooley.
Cooley. Yeah, he's minor in this movie, but Cooley is he's the master of kicks. He does mostly just kicking movements here, and we also have 2 other performers who are the heroes, the main 3 heroes in the movie. In the beginning of the movie, we have men with iron rings.
Yeah,
36 chambers.
Hey, oh yeah, I guess that is a reference. See, I don't know if this lost on you guys that it's like it got my family in hysterics when he took the shower ring, the
curtain rods.
the curtain rod ring.
Well, he owns like a
used
dry
those?
cleaner. Yeah, so he just hangs all the clothes on those.
Right.
So
exactly.
that setup is great though, because when we're introduced to his character, they have that top-down shot, and you
Yes.
always see them at the side of the frame, but it's inconsequential.
But
You
here's
think
the
it's
thing: every master, if you rewatch the movie, and when the introduction happens for every single master, it's a POV shot of them, but within the foreground or background or the immediate action that they're doing describes what they're a master of.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, remember that point, because I want to talk about that when we get introduced to the Beast later. Because I guess I could bring it up right now. When Stephen Chow's walking down the hallway, you actually hear
Frogs.
just like riveting.
That was
It's so subtle.
Yeah, that was an element that was very lost on me until I saw the HD version of it, where I could see the frogs like in the hallway, because at the end the Beast uses a frog style, and it felt very out of place, like out of nowhere, like it felt like it came out of left field, but.
I guess there were subtle nods to it.
I wish they maybe made it a little more obvious with the frogs. I don't know. That would be all for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's comedic. It's almost as bad as the cat style from Magnificent Butcher. Anyways, so we have these 3 heroes, and like you said it before, it's a little bit more grounded. There are some more fantastical elements out of it, like when he's kicking up dust. One of the bow staff masters, he's using that to kick up dust in the alley, and obviously that doesn't work that way. But
Well, you know why they're doing that, right? It's a cartoon fight.
yeah, and I feel like this is it works because it's in the beginning of the movie, so they're establishing it. Yes, they're great, but they're not as good as the later fights, right?
Yeah,
The later fighters. So it works well because Sammo was probably not in his element doing this kind of choreography. So he's just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm out of the movie.
Well, what's funny? There is no resolution to this fight. Once the clouds of dust kind of take over the entire alley, it cuts to the next scene.
Yeah.
It's almost like and this is just me talking out of my ass, but Samuel's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and they didn't know how to end the fight, so because it's all digital. If you look at it, all the dust is digital. It's almost like they just took the footage they had, they added the CG dust to it, and then they just cut like, oh, we got our asses kicked.
And then like even the clothes flapping or like anything, a flag of any sort that's flapping, that's all CGI too. It's not true. Like most of the scene is CGI.
Yeah. I'm going to back up a little bit. There's that moment where Xingyu, well, he's the first one who steps up, right? So he's taking on everybody. And I like that, like, it starts off with there being very simple choreography. Simple, not in a bad way. Simple as in, like, grounded in reality. But
he's just doing a lot of kicks.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of great kicks, you know. It's convincing enough. You know, obviously there's the fantastical element where he launches a guy in the air with one leg and then kicks him with the same leg. You know, like little things like that. But then it devolves into him fending off all these Axe gang members, and they swarm him. Like you complain about this in other films where like you see all these people hanging out in the background, like, but they're all swarming him and he's just pushing them. Right.
Well, it finally turns into they kind of dogpile him.
Yeah, dogpiling. Yeah, and
which I liked.
Yeah. Well, obviously the other heroes come in and they help him out, and it becomes more level, level in that regard.
Right. It's very fun because as an audience member, you're like, you first you see him save the day by catching the lighter, and then the tailor reveals that he is also a fighter and he uses those rings that they kept on visually alluding to, and now he's coming in and kicking ass. And then you finally get the third guy that I guess he was a kanji maker.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if this was his name, but in the subtitles he was Donut.
Which
I don't know why.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know why they called him that. But then he comes in and he's protecting them from gunfire because of the Axe gang. They took out their Tommy guns from the trunk of the car.
That's true.
I thought it was because he makes food and he makes donuts.
Chinese donuts. Oh, we do kind of have Chinese donuts. Kind of. They don't taste like donuts, but yeah, I forgot about that. You just mentioned it, where one of them throws the bow staff and it cuts through all those Tommy guns, like you said before. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I guess that's more CG.
It was very CG. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so I don't have a problem with Yunwo Ping's choreography. Because I think he was there to help make it look cartoony, and Stephen Chow was really going, I don't want to say overboard. He was really exaggerating a lot of the kung fu here, because there aren't minus this first battle, there aren't so many times where you actually get long takes of people fighting without the assistance of CG.
Yeah.
Later on, it's a lot of CG, and not that it's a bad thing. It works for the story.
Maybe that's a direct parallel to Matrix. It starts off relatively grounded, kind of cartoony, and at the end it becomes a Dragon Ball Z fight.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it does it better than the Matrix, or how the Matrix ends up being. You know, everyone loves the Matrix Revolutions, right? Everyone loves that movie.
Yeah,
sure. So, anyways, that's the first fight, and then Sammo said, "Fuck you guys." Probably a lot less coarse than that, but yeah, he said no. They've got Yunwo Ping, and I for what the film is, he's definitely more suited for the role of action choreographer. I do like the second fight a little bit more, because it's just the perfect blend of being like what suited for this movie. You know, it's cartoony, but it's not over the top.
Elaborate on what the second fight is again.
So the second fight is when the three masters, they're told to leave. They're evicted. They're told, because the landlord Yunhua and other lady don't want them there because they might cause trouble, and you learn later why they want them to leave. But they're leaving, but all of them get accosted by assassins.
Yes,
assassins who play a Yongkam.
Zither.
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 Okay. I only know in Chinese.
It's a very long stringed instrument.
Right. It's great. I like what what it is in like the way that it's portrayed in this movie, because they're just playing music, and
Yeah.
you just see these slices in the air, like a la Avatar: The Last Airbender, kind of thing. Like these wind slices.
Yeah, what you find out is when they strum notes along the strings, that there are actually kind of like hidden blades in there. I don't know if it's spiritual.
I
Maybe
think it's spiritual.
Spiritual, okay.
Probably.
But what happens is they use this against the three masters now, and so where in the first fight we were able to see these three masters take on a big gang of people. Now you see that they are actually a little outmatched from these two guys who are using these kind of spiritual kung fu elements.
Yeah, yeah. And the best part about it is like they're not just playing, like they're not just like banging on the zither in order to get all these like as much out there as possible. They're actually playing music, so it's a nice diegetic way of incorporating music into the fight scene.
Yeah.
And also having a fight scene. One, like I don't want to talk about who dies in the fight, but
Well, you
You
kind
know.
of have to regardless. But one of the things about before this death occurs, it's actually the least action in
But it
a
works.
fight, and it works so damn well because of the visuals right before, and the cause of death is a beheading. And there's really no fighting back. You just take it and you die.
yeah, well,
Or he takes it and he dies.
yeah, right.
But there's this one moment where a cat. So basically, they're playing music, or the one guy is, and these blades are flying through the air, and it's weird. It's like he's taunting him before he kills him, and then he's cutting like trees down, and he's cutting pots and stuff open.
But as the guy's walking away, he doesn't realize it.
Right. And it's all happening behind him. So you have just this like forward part, or the right hand of the screen is him just moving forward. And then all right behind him, the left hand side of the screen is just things getting cut up and just butchered. And then all of a sudden, like a cat who's just like yawning on top of this low house, this roof, jumps off, and all you see is the shadow because the cat jumps out of frame, and all of a sudden the blade cuts right through the cat and it splits into two, and then you think it's over, but then all of a sudden blood splatters back onto the building where he jumped from, and it was just like, that's fucking epic.
See, the version we saw in theaters didn't have that.
Yeah,
Well, they had the cat, but getting cut in half, but you didn't see.
You didn't see the blood. Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then
Oh
eventually,
no, cats geting murdered isn't fantastic. But
I support the no what.
no, don't say that. Someone's gonna clip that out of context. Yeah. So, like you said before, that happens, but it's a good setup for these characters. They're menacing, and there's really not much that these people can do because they are long distance attackers. That you can't approach them. It's a good distance fight, if that's the way you describe it.
The one thing I really like about this fight is in the previous fight, they set up the strengths of all the fighters. So we have the tailor who has the iron rings around his wrists, and then you have the kanji maker who has the bow staff.
Yeah, the bow staff.
And so what I was mentioning earlier with the escalation of power, what happens is the tailor's rings get completely destroyed right in the beginning of this fight. So you know now where he stands compared to the other guys.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is when the kanji maker comes in, he comes in with these floating spears. So I guess that he does have some possible spiritual powers to him too. And it becomes, and you can see that he is clearly skilled because he's kind of able to swipe away the swords that are coming at him from the harpists. But I think they're just that much more powerful from him. And it's a great scene because you have the music ramping up. You have them slowly just throwing like more and more swords at him as he's slowly floating towards them with his many spears.
Right.
And it's just all his spears are getting knocked away and they're just constantly throwing these swords. And you kind of think he might be able to do it. Like he actually does reach them because there is that distance.
Yeah, right.
And then you find out, no, they're actually more powerful, and he just like obliterates them.
Right. And I mean, they all get taken down one way or another because they like I said before, like they were just playing casually, playing music, and then just one hard strum, and everything that they worked for is just ruined, destroyed. But we do get a good reveal of how they get these two harpists. I guess
Yes.
they get defeated with a character who steps finally gets into the fray. I don't know how we can talk about these two people without spoiling the movie. You really can't. Like you have to.
Yeah, we kind of have to
Mhm.
say who they are.
Well, we can talk about their powers, but we won't say who they are.
Sure.
One-
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
Okay.
that would be a good way to do it.
One is
It's like a rubber man.
yeah, one's a rubber man. He's very flexible, incredibly.
He's Luffy from One Piece.
I don't know what is that
Yeah.
reference?
Oh, what?
Sorry.
I'm ashamed of all of
You
you.
and your animu. He's like a fucking cloud.
Yeah. How would you describe it? Like he can absorb blows, and it's like he's weightless because
yeah,
he
essentially.
doesn't take the impact of any hits. It just kind of
flies off of
he
him.
fly. Yeah. And he flies back as well.
Yeah,
In this moment.
I think in
it's like fighting a balloon.
I think
That's a good one.
in the sub, when I remember reading it and watching it, it was just that he is able to take blows without getting any bodily harm. I don't remember anything about lightweight body necessarily, but I could have missed that.
No, you see it visually though.
Yeah, I don't think they ever say what his power is, but it's very, very clear
Yeah.
what his power is because this is just the strength of the director. They show you, they clearly show you like the fists bouncing off of him and then hitting the other
Right.
opponent.
It's cartoony.
It's very cartoony. They're using it for comedy right now. That you can't get a hit on him, pretty much.
Right.
Rubber
Oh, we
band.
didn't talk about like one of the harpists is actually one of our regulars on our show, Feng Hao. Oh my god, I'm fucking up right. I forgot your name. Sorry. But he was the pervert from Magnificent Butcher, and the guy who gets fucking flipped onto his stomach onto an escalator in Police Story.
Ouch.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Uh,
No, but literally, he's dead. Anyways, so the other character, I don't want to spoil it. Like, even though I feel like even saying the person's power is enough to spoil it, but this person has this ability to create large wind chambers. Is that what
Shockwaves. Let's go-
Shockwaves.
Yeah,
yeah.
shockwaves.
there you go.
Well,
Right.
they call the power the lion's roar.
Oh, come on, that's a spoiler right there.
Not really.
I think
No.
so. Okay, fine.
No, I don't think so.
Don't analyze it too much.
Yeah.
Just watch the movie.
Well, I can really spoil this.
No, don't do it. Wait, go ahead. Good.
I was gonna say one you can call a victim of domestic violence, and then the other you can call the abuser, and then the vocal part, the lion's roar, comes into part as the abuser.
They're set up for that too. Like we were talking about how the three heroes get set up throughout the movie. Actually, all the heroes have set up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I like about it. There's a lot of foreshadowing to the things that happen.
Yeah.
Especially in this fight when I'm just going to call him the rubber man. I don't know what else to call him. He does this thing when he's fighting the harpists where he flips them like with one hand, like he spins them and they fall on the ground. I didn't realize it, but that comes into play later when he fights the beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was
It doesn't
really-
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then he kind of turns it on, turns the tides on him and does it to him in a more extreme way, which I thought was really fun.
Right. Yeah, but there's really not too much about like in terms of choreography here though. A lot of it's just CG.
Yeah,
It's just CG, and then the fight ends. The villains, they retreat, and then we get introduced to our next villain. He's menacing because he just looks like a washed up like retiree.
Well, even the characters in the movie feel this. Like
Yeah.
they're like, "Are you sure the guy looks like a bum?"
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think we were reading this before the podcast. Stephen Chow casted Bruce Leung for the role of the Beast, and for the auditioning, Bruce Leung showed up, and Stephen Chow looked at him and was like, "Oh man, you have so much hair. Like like you make me look terrible." But it turned out that was a wig. And as soon as he removed the wig, that's the look that we got for this movie. He has that old man comb over.
Yeah, he's
Flapping in the wind.
Yeah.
That's I kind of mentioned this a little earlier. One of the things I like about Stephen Chow movies is his characters are I don't want to say visually appealing. They're visually striking. So they're not always the beautiful Hollywood Chinese cinema actors or actresses. Like something's like off about them. They kind of look like regular people. Sometimes I don't want to say ugly. Sometimes they are.
Sometimes they are just ugly,
visually
it's deliberate.
displeasing, but it's deliberate though.
Right.
Deliberate though, because you get a sense when you see this guy that there's no way he could be a master. There's no way he could take out anyone. But he very, very clearly shows that he has the skills
Right.
to now fight the people of Pigsty Alley.
Yeah, like that moment where he blocks the bullet between his fingers. I thought that was cute.
I like that a lot. It's so cartoony, but it just works here.
Yeah, it's a good usage of slow mo. Although again, it's cartoony.
I like when his hand comes in from off a frame, like it was clearly cut out. It just comes in and catches the bullet.
There's good Chinese martial arts philosophy that he spouts as well, and it's nice. Trying to play up that whole angle, when it comes to like Chinese proverbs and such. But then we have our next fight. It's kind of weird, the setup of this, and it wasn't until like subsequent viewings of this that I realized that the two people that we were talking about before on the hero side, they're already at the hideouts because they already planned to show up there.
I like that, actually.
Well, it cuts the movie down a little bit.
Well, because you know what was going to happen? It was going to be like they now had to go back to the alley. Like, it was just going to be a back and forth. I like that they hired the beast. He's like, all right, well, let me go get him. And it's like, oh, they're here.
Right.
Great. So I was like, perfect. That's how you do it. You don't need to see the car driving and then maybe they have asinine dialogue.
Right.
So it was just right.
Well, in terms of like why they're there, it makes sense. Like they're doing some sort of quote unquote peace offering kind of thing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, they brought a bell.
I thought that was a funeral bell.
Oh, well, I guess. Well, I mean, it's some sort of like thing to try end this whole this feud, right? So that's the way I looked at it. So like we have this fight that goes on between these guys. We have the two versus Bruce Leung. And it's weird because there is a lot of CG in this as well, because we have actors. Well, I mean, not in a bad way, because again,
not in a bad way. But you do have older actors.
Yes,
there's definitely a limitation to what you can do with them, and you need to protect them. So there's a lot of times where hits don't connect.
There's only so much ensure that you can have in your system before everything starts breaking up.
And we talk about this sometimes with the framing of the camera, and when somebody throws a hit at somebody, you can clearly see the distance. Here that happens, but I've kind of forgive that, because yes, you have the older actors. You really don't want to accidentally punch him in the face. That could be detrimental.
It's funny because Bruce Leung is, I'm gonna assume, like 40s, 50s or 60s in this movie, and he delivers this really flexible axe kick. He brings his leg all the way up and slams it down.
There's CG there. Right?
No, but you see that, you see him do it. No, not when he's actually like kicking down and he destroys his fucking table. No. That's CG.
Yeah, no, I know. When he winds up and you have that top-down angle, and you see the foot large in frame. That's a CG foot.
Isn't there? I feel like there's another angle where you see him looking at the camera. I know which one you're talking about. There's one where he's looking.
There's the wind up, and then there's a literal kick down. He's doing the kick down, but when you do the wind up, I think they were exaggerating the size of the foot, so that's when it turns into CG.
Okay, yeah, you might be right about that. But I mean, this devolves into a lot of fantastical, explosive kind of movements here. We have, like you mentioned before, one of the characters twists the arm and it doesn't work because he's just invulnerable to that, and he ends up, doing it back to them, and it destroys their entire sleeve.
Yes,
explodes.
I'm a big fan of the clothing destruction by CGI. It's so silly, but
I think they did it better in Shaolin Soccer.
Well, they
literally
right.
destroyed everything.
Well, they reference it again in this actually.
Yeah.
I just like the power level, the explanation. Like, my body's really strong, but my clothes aren't strong.
Yeah,
You don't have the Hulk clothes.
Yeah, the stretchy underpants.
but we get lots of CG assisted stuff here, like when they're literally attacking the beast's face.
Yeah.
And you see the foot,
Oh, yeah.
the feet flying from one end and another, and it's literally like squashing and mushing his face together.
It's made out of Play-Doh.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. It's silly.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say this is not choreography, but this is not the choreography that usually I like to deconstruct, because there is a lot of assistance from wires here in CGI. So like I'm not looking at the moves, because they're going for a lot of power.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's lots of big movements where they're just trying to take this guy down.
And there's just a lot of floaty moments everywhere around. So, like you were saying, it's hard to just be like, oh, it's critique this and this. It's just like, it's just the style of what he determined he was going to do in all the reactions. Everything from the first fight, this first major fight, to the last major fight, and so on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We went from the grounded fight in the first fight in the movie. And then we started moving in the direction of wuxia, and then now we're going the direction of like godlike powers.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Like everyone can do these things that aren't physically possible. Literally, it goes beyond just flying across the room. We're talking about like destroying tables with one kick, stuff like that. And I can't, like it literally keeps going in that direction. Like it gets more and more fantastical, because now we have our final fight.
I would say it's always been fantastical. It's just getting exponentially
yes.
like,
I mean,
yeah,
It gets sillier and sillier, and it literally
OP's not even a good word anymore.
right. Well, I mean, he does. he becomes a god at the end.
So we haven't talked much about Stephen Chow in this movie, and this isn't. I can't say this is a spoiler, because if you've seen trailers, you look at the box art, you know he's gonna be the final. He's somehow gonna turn into the
Well, he is in
the messiah of kung fu.
I mean, I guess it wasn't always known, but it's not really a spoiler, because so for me, I wasn't too crazy about this story element, where he does, in fact, he does get the powers to fight the beast. He wasn't really that good at fighting before, but they did allude to the fact that he had something.
And they allude to the fact that he's a good person.
Yes.
Multiple times. So, like every instance where like some magical thing happened to prevent some catastrophe, like it turned out it's because of him. Like that moment in the very beginning where one excellent gang member is about to smack someone in the head with an axe. Like you just see a whole bunch of cuts. Like you don't know what happened, and no one can see it because it's so fast. And then you just see the axe, the axe member. He's inside a barrel, and he's like, "Did anyone see what happened?" That was Stephen Chow's character.
Was that?
Yes.
I was so sure that was the Cooley character.
No, it wasn't.
No?
That was Stephen Chow. That was his character.
They never said who did it.
No one said it did it, but it's inferred that it was Stephen Chow.
Really?
That's how fast he is. Yeah.
I never got that.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I never got that was him. I always thought it was one of the masters, and then because the Cooley is the first one to reveal himself, I thought that was him.
Maybe it's my interpretation of it, but I feel like that's most fitting for the movie, right? Because he's trying so hard to be bad, but he's
actually a good person. Well, now that you say that, in terms of his character, that would make sense, but I never got that because the Cooley is the one to reveal himself.
Cooley never demonstrated that he can move so fast no one can see him. Okay. Stephen Chow's character seems like he's the Flash. Well, he's Superman because he can, but minus the heat beams out of his eyes. Yeah. But so our final fight starts off with
well, it's another one versus many.
One versus many, but now we've literally gone Matrix Reloaded on this, and then the last one is Matrix Revolutions. What I mean by that is Stephen Chow is taking on everybody,
Like the entire Axe gang.
Yeah.
Literally like hundreds of them.
Yeah, and it starts off with him being evasive. He's just doing childish maneuvers. Childish as in like he's not like retaliating. All he's doing is just stomping people's toes into the ground.
I like that a lot.
He's like knocking everyone around. I don't think the comedy works, but I feel like whatever. This is a disposable scene. He's just like showing that he's strong. That's all it is.
Yeah. And I think for me, why this is my least favorite of the fights is because I don't like how he got overpowered. I wish there was a better way that he was able to become so powerful so suddenly. It works, I guess, in the context of the story, but for me, I don't know. I wanted something else from it.
I don't think he had much of a character throughout the movie, so I didn't feel like there was like some sort of not empathy. What's the word I'm looking for? Like I didn't feel like I related to him as much. Like when he got to this moment and he rose above all the quote unquote tribulations about the film, and now he's like the main hero of the movie. I feel like that wasn't as earned.
Yeah. I like the story arc of him trying to be a bad person and then ultimately he's a good guy. Like he can't escape that.
Right.
But for him to be the good guy who is now literally overpowered, I don't like that part of it.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And I don't know how we can analyze it. It's just cartoony. Like there's no other way to describe it.
And it literally does poke fun of both Matrix sequels. You get the Burly fight, and I like what they do here is you have that top down angle, and you see all the guys rushing into him. And every time this happens in other films, I can't not hear pinball sound effects. Because that's what they do in this film. He's literally kicking the guys away, and you hear the springs and the pings.
It's a little on the nose for me, but okay.
and then he starts kicking the guys literally into the air, and you get that shot of all the henchmen flying in the sky. I don't know. I like that. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Again, a little too much on the nose for me, but maybe that's personal taste.
But I mean, this is where the movie was going. Ultimately.
Yeah. I know. But I mean, it's fine for what it is. I just didn't find it hilarious. I know they're going for comedy here, so it's fine. I guess the highlight of this last fight is seeing Bruce Leung take on Stephen Chow. It's okay. It really is just mimicking what you see in Revolutions. Like Agent Smith taking on Neo.
Like they're flying through the air now.
Yeah.
It's like Superman.
Yeah.
Dodging each other.
I don't care.
In terms of choreography, there's not too much to write home about.
Yeah.
There is one great sequence where Stephen Chow and Bruce Leung do have hand-to-hand combat stuff going on. It's very, very short, very brief. Right. And considering the man's age, I was like, oh wow, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very short. It then turns into cartoony where Stephen Chow starts like machine gun punching at him, and then you get that over-ramping sound effect.
Yeah.
But before that, if you were looking for grounded choreography, that was the moment.
Yeah, because at the end of it just turned into an anime fight, and I was like, I don't care.
Literally,
I don't care.
Literally, an anime fight.
But it's for the final blow. He's like Kaioken, and it's just like a giant palm comes down from the sky.
Buddha's palm.
But I will say the Buddhist stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, I see what they're trying to do here. Stephen Chow being a devout Buddhist and whatnot,
and they reference it in the beginning too,
right?
With him as a kid, getting the Buddhist palm manual,
so, and also actually one of the parts he didn't mention that references it again is when he's healing. Well, not to give away his power, but when he's healing himself inside
the power of comedy.
No,
Stephen Chow.
No,
go on.
He's inside the traffic light.
Oh, yes.
And that he's doing actually all of these forms, and you kind of see like the potential he has and what power level he's really at. And I don't think he realizes himself. He's just like going through like a motion. Right. And then
he does mention that.
Yeah.
Like
later on. Yeah.
He's his friend says like, how come after every fight or something you're miraculously healed? He's like, oh, I don't know, I don't remember.
Like you disappear, then you come back healed, and like
So even he didn't know what's going on.
And actually comes up, the traffic light comes back again later because his friend is like staring at it and like looking at the fist or the palm.
You see all the
actually.
palms.
Yeah. So another reference to the book in the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about the choreography. It's not. This is one of those weird, rare episodes where we don't. Yeah, the choreography is there, but there's not much to talk about. It's all about what this movie stands for, and then the movie ends actually after this. Like the story wraps up, and supposedly we're gonna get Kung Fu Hustle 2. I don't know if that's still happening.
Yeah, it's happening.
But how does he get defeated?
But how is he gonna face any more challenges? He's fucking Goku. I don't understand.
Maybe it'll be a midquel where they where
something happens in between the movie.
Right. Well, they explain how this happened, and
Don't give them ideas, Zero. Don't give them ideas.
well, maybe.
But you think Stephen Chow is gonna be in the movie?
I would love it if he was in.
He hasn't
the sequel,
acted
but
forever.
I know. I don't think he's going to be in. I think his thing now is he is trying to propel maybe like the current actors and actresses, and he's using his well-known movies to have them in it now.
Yeah, but like I said before, no one's gonna get his timing. No one has his on-screen presence like him. You know, he can get all the actors he wants, but he's an okay director. Well, I mean, he's a great director, but it's a culmination of that and his presence on screen. It's like when you have someone else doing his delivery, it doesn't work.
No, I get that.
Yeah, I don't want to get back into that can of worms. So Kung Fu Hustle, the love letter to Kung Fu movies. Is it as good as everyone thinks it is? Is it as amazing as everyone thinks it is? Everyone talk except me because I don't want to shit on it so much.
By the criteria of like everything together, it works very well. Because even if you hate one thing, there's going to be something else that you love.
Right.
It's a hate-love kind of relationship throughout the film, whether it's music, whether it's cinematography, CGI, kung fu, plot, character, backstories, anything. You're going to love something, you're going to hate something, but overall it's a pretty damn good movie. Yeah.
In terms of the production, in terms of what?
I mean like you can hate production, but you can love something else, and then that, I don't know. I don't think there's much middle ground for this movie. Where you could be like, yeah, okay, it's plateauing, it like all the way through. Like, no, there's very big highs and there's some big lows. CGI would be one of them for me. That's just a personal thing, but then every other high just brings it back up again above the average, and it keeps going and it keeps going, and it's fantastic. Definite recommend. Yeah, just like a staple, because it's completely different from every wuxia kind of journey martial arts film that everybody's used to.
Right.
And it has a nice Western twist to it.
Okay. I'll go next because I think I want to end this with a more positive note because you know me, I'm negative Nancy. I like the movie enough. I've seen a lot of Stephen Chow movies, and I grew up with him in my household, so I do think it's not as good as his other films. But and I know what Stephen Chow's trying to do. It's a good send up to kung fu films, and I appreciate this film for what it is. But I don't like I can't disassociate what Stephen Chow means for me, because I go to a Stephen Chow movie for comedy, right? So like we were talking about before, this movie, I don't think of the choreography at all. Like I just think about the movie as a whole, like in other aspects, right? So like that for one is me telling you right now to not watch the fight scenes on YouTube. It's like definitely just watch the movie. It's like there's no point in just watching the fight scenes.
That was pretty much my recommendation for fights too. Like out of context,
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That entertaining.
It takes away from it for sure.
Yeah. You need the context behind everything. My biggest gripe with the movie is it's way too simple, and that's a huge gripe for me. That's why I like Shaolin Soccer way more. It's it takes the kung fu aspects that I like and incorporates the comedy that I know Chow's known for, and it's just perfect. Like for me, it's perfect. And if he ended it there, that would have been great. But this movie, Kung Fu Hustle, did really well internationally, and all the things that Mark said are still very valid. It's like it works in Western audiences. Some things in Shaolin soccer might not be translatable, so I understand that.
You mean the girls with mustaches playing soccer? Yeah, that was lost on me.
I don't think that worked for me either. Or when, oh God, did you watch the dub when he calls one of the girls E.T.? You look like E.T. I'm like, that's not what he said. Like,
what did he say there?
You look weird. You look like an alien. But like, don't say E.T.
He said alien. Yeah,
don't say E.T. That's dumb. But anyways, Kung Fu Hustle's wider appeal, so I appreciate it for that. It really is a shame for me that like I find the story way too simple. Because it is just the good guys do this, now the bad guys do this, now the good guys do this. And the comedy is the biggest selling point for Chow's movies, and it's not there for me. So yeah, there's a lot more of his movies I would recommend, but that's not from a martial arts standpoint. That's just because they're better movies in my opinion. But still a good movie. You know, like you really can't go wrong with it. Definitely give it a watch. Give it a couple passes because there's always something you miss, the first time around. Because like last time we watched it, I noticed things that I didn't, notice last time. Needs subsequent viewings. Choreography wise, not worth it at all. It's kind of weird for a kung fu podcast, to talk about this and not praise the kung fu in it. But it's fine. Like you need to watch it with context. Without it, it's there's no point to it. And yeah, that's my middle ground answer. Let's end with something a little bit more positive. Zero.
I mean, basically, both of what you guys said is like how I feel too. The choreography is just okay. I think because there's so much CGI in it, it can detract from people who like more grounded fights. So yeah, don't watch it on YouTube. You do need the context. I feel like the fights are good because the story and the characters propel them. So you feel like you want them to win. You want them to overcome the bad guys because you get to know these characters, and that's how it should be. You root for the good guys, and it feels good when they win.
Right.
Yeah, I like Stephen Chow movies. I like this one. I'm a Westerner, so I appreciate the more Western appeal. But I like his other stuff too. I know you like Shaolin Soccer more. For me, they're two different movies, so I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I do think that yes, this one is just a lot more easily accessible for people who don't know his stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you were gonna recommend to an American, like, oh, what Stephen Chow movie should I watch? Like I think most people would say, oh yeah, just go with Kung Fu Hustle first.
Yeah.
And then you could probably go backwards from there.
Right.
Yeah, that's about it. It's unfortunate. You're correct where this isn't as funny, I think, as some of his other comedies. But I did like a lot of the visual gags, so it still worked for me.
Yeah. No, it's not. I'm not saying it's not funny. That fucking knife thing is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But the whole movie as a whole is not hilarious. It just. But I will say, I will watch. Don't watch the fight scenes for this movie, but watch that knife scene. It is the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's the only thing that you can watch
without a context.
The YouTube video.
I would gift that and send it to people. I'm telling you that right now.
That's a long gift.